One of the toughest battles for people against abortion is addressing assertions around the issue that make taking a life more acceptable. Like, for instance, that a life doesn't really begin till a baby's outside the womb.
This idea that before the baby's born, nothing's really happening, it's basically a nothing, and then all of a sudden, poof, at birth, we have a baby.
In her book, The Choice, Danielle D'Souza Gill takes on what she calls myths accepted as fact. She points to the actual fact there's much more than nothing the first few weeks, writing, in the first trimester alone, the baby's toes, fingernails, bendable elbows, nose, head, hormones, and heartbeat develop. There's a myth women aren't wounded by abortion. Michelle Shelfer takes that on in her book, Prepare a Room.
The blow to a woman's identity that occurs with abortion can be likened to a racehorse that loses a leg, an athlete who suffers a disabling injury, or an artist who goes blind, except that we did it to ourselves.
Brandy Swindell opened a pro-life pregnancy center next to a Planned Parenthood clinic.
All the studies show and all the stories show from heartfelt women that they have been deeply wounded by abortion violence. Abortion is a violent act on a woman's body, and of course we know it takes the life of that innocent child.
We suffer not only the loss of our child, but the loss of ourselves as mothers.
Some pro-choice types assert fathers-to-be, and really all men, should be taken out of the equation altogether.
They want to make it really just between the woman and the abortionist.
Author Steve Carlin of 40 Days for Life says no.
Every child that I've ever met has both a mother and a father, and half of the victims of abortion in terms of the babies are male babies. And so I think it's disingenuous for those in the culture that try to claim that this is a women's issue only.
Shelfer argues against the myth a man isn't wounded by abortion.
He suffers a blow to his identity as a protector, as a father. Those instinctive and bred in the bone identity issues are really assaulted when he steps back and allows his little one to be harmed.
69% of men want abortion legal, and 43% call themselves pro-choice. But Gill says there's another side.
There are many other men who find it very heartbreaking. And I think for them, it often ends up being kind of like PTSD, where they live with that for the rest of their lives, knowing that they couldn't do anything to stop the death of the child.
Gill writes about one of those named Carl. Even though he ended up paying for the abortion, it had a traumatic effect on him. I didn't know how I was going to survive. I wasn't going to jump off a bridge, but I probably would have drunk myself to death. I've thought about what happened every day for the last 32 years. Shelfer, in her book, quotes Jim telling of numerous nightmares he's had about an abandoned woman and her daughter years after his girlfriend's abortion. Writing, I wake up from this recurring dream with feelings of shame and guilt. Sometimes I see the little girl from a distance and long to hold her. But I know that is not possible. She is hauntingly beautiful. Another myth is the unborn may be human, but they aren't persons with the rights all people naturally have.
And this goes down to really their very existence and their very ability to live or die.
In her book, she writes,
this is the justification the Nazis used, claiming that Jews are humans but not persons. This is the justification used for slavery, claiming that blacks are humans but not persons.
These authors all agree. If and when the falsehoods and myths are ripped away, society must then cope with the devastating truth that abortion takes the life of a person just as real as you are or I am. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.